I always thought my wedding day would start with butterflies, not betrayal. The night before I was supposed to marry Ethan, I couldn't sleep. The hotel suite was quiet, except for the faint hum of the air conditioner and my racing thoughts. My maid of honor, Leah, had fallen asleep after hours of helping me pack gift bags and rehearse vows, but something kept nagging at me. Ethan's sudden work calls, his late replies, and how his phone never left his side anymore. I don't know what possessed me, but when his phone buzzed on the nightstand, a message preview flashing a heart emoji and a name I didn't recognize, my gut screamed. I tried to ignore it. I really did. But curiosity has a cruel sense of timing. I opened his phone. Face ID, because apparently he never changed the setting. That let me unlock it while he was asleep. The message read, "I can't believe you're marrying her tomorrow. Do you even love her?" Then another one popped up right below it from Ethan. "You know I don't. I'm just doing what I have to." My hands went cold. I scrolled hundreds of messages. Photos. Voice notes. A 6-month affair with his coworker Madison. The same woman who sat across from me during our engagement dinner, smiling like my friend, and I wanted to scream cry. Destroy everything in that suite. But instead, I took screenshots. Packed my things and left. No confrontation. Not yet. Because by morning, I wasn't just the bride-to-be. I was the woman who would make sure the truth came out publicly. The sun rose like nothing had happened. Birds chirped, the world spun. And my phone buzzed with "Good morning, bride." Messages from family and friends who had no idea the wedding was already dead. I sat in my car outside the venue, makeup free, staring at my reflection in the rear-view mirror. My mascara from last night had left dark streaks beneath my eyes. I looked like someone who already buried something. Leah called me 3 times before I picked up. "Where are you here?" And makeup starts in 30. I almost told her everything. But then I remembered she and Ethan were close. Too close. Sometimes I didn't know who to trust anymore. "I'll be there soon," I lied, even though my dress was still hanging at my apartment. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't want to run. I wanted him to feel the same kind of public humiliation he had planned for me, marrying me while sneaking around behind my back. So I drove straight to the venue. When I arrived, the chaos of wedding prep was in full swing. Florists, caterers, photographers. Everyone smiled and congratulated me like I was walking into a fairy tale. Ethan was there, looking devastatingly handsome in his tuxedo, talking to his groomsmen like nothing was wrong. His eyes lit up when he saw me, but I saw it, that flicker of fear behind his confident grin. He knew I'd seen the messages. We met privately in the dressing room. "Listen, I can explain." He started, voice trembling. I laughed. "You don't need to. You already did to Madison." He paled. "Please don't do this here." "Oh, I'm not doing anything." "I said you did. I'm just letting everyone know." And that's when I handed him a small flash drive. Inside, every message, every photo, every voice note. I smiled. "You might want to warn the DJ. He'll be playing something different during the first dance." Ethan's face drained of color. Because I'd already emailed the files to the wedding coordinator labeled "Play this first." By the time guests filled the hall, I'd already stopped shaking. There was a strange calm in me, like the quiet before a storm. You know you can't stop. My makeup artist touched up my face, unaware that the bride she was painting was about to detonate her own wedding. The music began. I walked down the aisle, veil over my face, clutching the bouquet so tightly my knuckles turned white. My father held my arm, whispering, "You look beautiful, sweetheart." I almost cried then, not because of joy, but because I knew I was about to break his heart too. Ethan stood at the altar, smiling nervously. To everyone else it looked like wedding jitters. But I saw the sweat, the stiffness. He knew he was waiting for me to blink first, to back down. The officiant started speaking, but I wasn't listening. My mind was counting down. The moment would come right after the vows, when the first dance video was cued. I had given the coordinator the flash drive that morning with a calm voice and an innocent smile. It's a surprise montage for Ethan. When it happened, it was almost too perfect. The music faded. The lights dimmed. The screen behind us flickered to life. Instead of a slideshow of childhood photos, the first image was Ethan and Madison in a mirror, selfie, half-dressed, laughing. Gasps rippled through the guests. Then came screenshots of their messages. "Can't wait till she is gone this weekend. You're the only one I want." Someone screamed. My mother stood up. Ethan lunched toward the DJ booth, shouting, "Turn it off," but it was too late. The room was already chaos. Guests were whispering, phones out, recording. My father looked at Ethan like he was ready to punch him through the floor. I just stood there, bouquet in hand, and said softly, "Guess the honeymoon is off." And then I walked out. No tears. No explanations. Just the echo of shattered applause behind me. By the time I got to my car, my phone was already vibrating, non-stop. Calls. Texts. Missed FaceTimes. The video had hit the internet within minutes. Someone had recorded the entire reveal. The screen, Ethan's face. My walkout. Within an hour, runaway bride exposes cheating fiancé was trending locally on Facebook and TikTok. Leah called 20 times before I finally answered. "What the hell did you do?" she screamed. "What he deserved," I replied. "You humiliated him in front of everyone." I laughed bitterly. "Oh, so you knew." She hesitated just long enough for me to know the answer. "It wasn't my place to tell you," she whispered. That silence between us said everything. I hung up. When I got home, the reality hit me. My wedding dress was still draped across the couch, like a ghost of a life that never happened. My voicemail was full of sympathy messages, and hate ones too. Ethan's mother accused me of publicly destroying a good man. My own mom told me she wished I'd confronted him privately. But privately, that's what he counted on. He thought he could lie to my face, marry me for convenience, and still keep his secret. Know if I had to be humiliated. So did he. Later that night, Ethan showed up at my apartment. I didn't open the door, but I watched him through the peephole, hair messy, tucks undone, eyes red. He pounded the door and begged, "You've made your point. Please just stop the video from spreading." I didn't reply. The video had already gone viral. The DJ posted it on Reddit Senior. Public freak out with the caption, "Bride plays cheating montage at her own wedding." Millions of views. Thousands of comments. Some called me a legend. Others said I was cruel. But none of them knew what came next. The secret Ethan had kept that made the betrayal even deeper. The internet had turned my heartbreak into entertainment. I went to bed that night thinking maybe, just maybe, the chaos would fade after a few days. But by morning, my face was on every gossip site. Bride exposes cheating fiancé in savage wedding video. My inbox was flooded, strangers thanking me for inspiring them, news outlets begging for interviews, sponsors offering deals. I ignored them all. I didn't want fame. I wanted peace. And came the message that changed everything. It was from a woman named Carly. Her profile looked normal. A picture of a toddler, a smiling husband, a few vacation posts. But her message was short and chilling. You don't know me, but Ethan ruined my life too. I stared at it for a long time. When I finally replied, she sent screenshots, years of old emails, photos, and messages. Ethan hadn't he just been cheating? He'd even living a double life. Carly had dated Ethan before me. He told her he was single, promised a future, even proposed with the same ring he gave me later. Then one day he vanished. Blocked her, moved cities, changed jobs. She eventually discovered he started dating me just months later. She had a son. His name was Noah, and according to her, Ethan was the father. My stomach dropped. I remembered all the business trips, the weekends he spent helping his mom. It all made sense now. I confronted him over text. How old is your son? He reply for hours. Then finally, please don't do this. It's not what you think. But it was exactly what I thought. The wedding wasn't just a betrayal. It was a cover-up, and the world wasn't done watching. Because Carly wanted to go public, and she wanted my help. I never thought I'd end up talking to my ex's other fiancé over coffee, but life has a sick sense of humor. Carly drove 3 hours to meet me. She looked tired, not bitter, just broken in that quiet way people get when they've spent too long being lied to. She brought proof. Photos of Ethan holding her baby. Receipts from hospital visits he'd paid for. A paternity test she'd done herself. No doubts left Ethan was Noah's father. We sat in silence for a while before I finally said, he played us both. She nodded. He plays everyone. That's when she told me something worse. Ethan worked at her company too. He'd even sleeping with Madison, my friend, while using Carly's name to secure a second line of credit. He'd even siphoning money through fake invoices, all while pretending to be the perfect fiancé. To me, it wasn't just infidelity. It was fraud. Carly had reported it to HR, but they'd brushed it off. Personal dispute, they called it. But now, with a viral scandal and receipts of his double life, the company couldn't ignore it. We made a plan. Carly would go to corporate HR with everything, photos, screenshots, financial proof, while I sent the same files to every journalist who emailed me asking for exclusive rights. I wasn't looking for revenge anymore. I was looking for justice. 2 days later, Ethan's company put him on indefinitely, pending investigation. His LinkedIn vanished. Madison deleted her socials. And then Ethan called me. He didn't sound angry this time. Just desperate. You're destroying my life. He said no. I replied calmly. You did that when you started living, 2 of them. That night I received another text, this time from a blocked number. You don't know who you're messing with. Stop before it gets worse. It wasn't Ethan's voice that scared me. It was realizing he wasn't working alone. At first, I thought the message was just Ethan lashing out. But when I got a second text the next morning, you've made powerful enemies. Walk away, my stomach twisted. It came from a new number. No name, no clue who sent it. Carly got one too. Hers said keep the kid out of this. That's when we realized this wasn't he just Ethan trying to save face. This was damage control. Someone else had skin in the game. Digging deeper, we discovered Madison. Wasn't he just Ethan S. side flame? She worked in accounting at the same company. She was the one approving the fake invoices Ethan created under Carly S. name. Together they'd been funneling thousands of dollars into a dummy account. The wedding, it was their exit plan. After marriage, Ethan would access my savings. We had a joint account for the wedding fund and disappear. They would VE left the country. I remember staring at the spreadsheet. Carly sent me each number like a dagger. He didn't. He just cheat. He used me. We took everything to the police. At first, they were skeptical. Two angry exes with a viral story. But once they saw the financial records and the email trail, they opened a full investigation. That night, Ethan showed up again. This time, not begging. He was furious. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" he shouted through my door. "You think this is over. You don't know who you're messing with." I almost called the cops. But by the time I grabbed my phone, he was gone. The next morning, my car's windshield was smashed. A note was tucked under the wiper. "Stay quiet, or next time, it's not glass." I took a photo and sent it straight to the detective handling the case. Carly called me, voice trembling. "We have to protect ourselves." I agreed. But part of me, the furious, heartbroken part, whispered no. "We're not running. We're finishing this." The detective assigned to our case, Officer Daniels, was calm but sharp. The kind of man who noticed details you didn't. He realized you'd given away. He asked me to recount everything from the start. The texts, the affair, the wedding video, the money trail. When I finished, he nodded slowly. He had other complaints about Ethan, he said, but nothing this detailed. You might just opened a bigger can of worms than you realize. Turns out Ethan had been quietly investigated before. Not for fraud, but for identity theft. A few years earlier, a coworker reported strange transactions under her name. The case was dropped for lack of evidence. Now, with Carly S. proof and my screenshots, the puzzle pieces fit perfectly. Daniels traced the dummy account Madison had helped create. The deposits weren't just from Carly S. forged invoices. There were multiple victims. Ethan had been manipulating women for years, building fake relationships to gain access to money, passwords, credit cards. I wasn't his first bride-to-be, just the loudest one. Carly broke down crying when Daniels confirmed it. "He told me he loved me," she whispered. "He probably told them all that," I said quietly. The investigation moved fast after that. A warrant was issued for Ethan and Madison. But before police could arrest them, both vanished. Madison S. apartment was empty. Ethan S. phone disconnected. His car abandoned in a parking lot across town. The detective told us to stay somewhere safe. I packed a bag and stayed with a friend for the night, but sleep wouldn't he come. Every creak sounded like a footstep. Every buzz on my phone made me flinch. Then at 2 a.m., I got an email from an anonymous account. No text, just one attachment. A photo. Me and Carly sitting at the cafe 2 days earlier. The timestamp proved it was taken from inside the cafe. Someone had been watching us. I didn't sleep after that photo. My chest felt like it was full of wires, tight, electric, ready to snap. I sent the image to Detective Daniels, and he replied immediately, "Stay inside. We're tracking the sender." But staying inside, didn't he feel safe anymore? Every window was a threat, every sound a warning. Around 4 a.m., headlights flashed across my living room wall, slow, deliberate. My heart stopped. I peeked through the curtain. Ethan. He was standing by my gate, his face lit by the streetlight, wild-eyed, disheveled, desperate. Wasn't he the charming man who once proposed to me? He looked dangerous. "Come out," he yelled. "We need to talk." I backed away and grabbed my phone, whispering to Daniels that he was here. He told me units were on the way. But Ethan must be heard me, because he started pounding on the door. "I know what you're doing. You ruined everything," he shouted. "You think you're some kind of hero. You destroyed my life." I finally snapped. "You destroyed your own life, Ethan. You lied, you cheated, you stole, and you hurt people who loved you." For a second, he went silent. Then he left a hollow, broken sound. "You think you know me. You never did. You are just supposed to make it all look real." That line hit me harder than anything. Make it look real. Was I just another piece in his con? Another pawn in some twisted plan? Then red and blue lights filled the street. Sirens cut through his shouting. He froze, eyes wide. Daniels and 2 officers stormed in, guns drawn. Ethan tried to run, but they tackled him right there on my porch. As they dragged him to the car, he turned to me, his voice low, almost calm. "This isn't over," he said. "You think you won, but you don't know what Madison started." And for the first time, I realized Ethan wasn't the mastermind. He was just the cover dot. The next week was surreal. Ethan and Madison were in custody, their faces on every news outlet. Turns out Madison had been working with a small network of accomplices, siphoning funds from women, employees, and unsuspecting clients. And Ethan was just the charming front man. The police traced everything back to them, thanks to Carly's documents and my wedding day evidence. Carly and I became an unlikely team of survivors. We gave statements, testified, and watched the legal system finally catch up to the people who had manipulated us. Noah was now in Carly's care full-time, and she and I stayed in contact, forming a bond one never expected. 2 women who had been betrayed, but refused to be broken. As for me, I finally removed my wedding photos from social media, except one. The photo of me walking out, veil over my Facebook in hand, staring straight at the camera like I owned my story. Every comment, every share reminded me of how far I'd come, from heartbroken, humiliated bride to someone who reclaimed her life, piece by piece. My parents finally called. They apologized, saying they hadn't believed Ethan could do something so cruel. I forgave them quietly, but didn't he forget forgiveness wasn't he for him? It was for me. Months later, I was invited to speak at a local women's empowerment event. I told my story, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the viral humiliation, and how taking control of my own narrative changed everything. The applause was deafening. I realized something important. Didn't he ruin Ethan's life? He did that himself. I just exposed the truth. Some people still called me cruel online. Others called me a hero. But I didn't care anymore. Because for the first time in my life, I wasn't defined by someone else's lies. I was defined by my choices, my courage, and the woman I became after the storm. And as for Ethan and Madison, they're facing decades of restitution, lawsuits, and prison time. The man who thought he could control everyone else's story finally has no one left to lie to except himself and me. I'm finally free, exposed, empowered, unstoppable.